Good afternoon, all. Happy Saturday. Hope the weekend has gone well for you, and we all have a good end to the weekend after Liverpool beat Everton tomorrow. Strange week because Liverpool go into two huge Premier League games at home to United, home to Everton. Normally, when the games are of this calibre and a lot of emotions and against our rivals and friends and neighbours, you're going in very apprehensive to the games, and you get that feeling that you don't get going in against Arsenal, Chelsea, Spurs, City. You get that kind of real apprehensive feeling. You're nervous, you're excited, and the closer it gets to kick off, you get very nervy. This week, don't feel like that at all. I knew Liverpool were going to do the job against United. It was a question of what score it would be, was going to be any controversial decisions in it, any injuries, etc., etc. And it's the same feeling going into tomorrow's big game against Everton. I think Everton will be a bit harder than United because we've seen of late how bad United are. That Everton lose 3-2 against Burnley. 3 days later, the early kickoffs at Goodison, and you're not expecting. You don't know what's going to happen. You're probably fancying United to do it. Obviously, United on paper have a better team, and Everton were badly out of form, and then Everton not only beat United but comfortably, I felt, beat them and kept a clean sheet. So I do expect, because this is the derby, because the stakes are high in this one, where Liverpool are challenging for the title and Everton are challenging to just stay in the Premier League. Everton are a point above safety with a game in hand, but Burnley beating Southampton during night puts all on us now on Everton, and you'd expect Liverpool to beat Everton tomorrow and that gap to close further. Obviously, if Burnley can do their business over the weekend, but the games are coming thick and fast now, and for Liverpool, we're unbelievable confidence, momentum, belief at the moment. It's all there for us. We're the most informed team in world football at the moment. And I don't expect Everton, who have only won once in the last 25 games in all competitions against Liverpool, to cause any problems tomorrow. I think best case scenario for Everton is that they give us a scare, is that they make the game a lot more competitive than expected. And, maybe Lampard gets the best out of his players, but there's nothing that suggests to me that this Everton team, that have only won 8 games all season in the league, they've lost 18 games. I think they've drew 4 or 5 or whatever games, are really, really struggling. I mean, they concede far too many goals and they don't score enough goals. I just don't expect Everton to do that tomorrow. And, I expect Liverpool to go out, do the business. I do expect it to be frantic and to be intense and to be cagey at times, because you're always going to get that in the derby. But I think overall we'll have too much for Everton, and it's a good chance tomorrow for us to make changes. And a couple of weeks ago we played Benfica at home, and there's a lot of people saying on social media and on some of the fan channels that that would be the last game that Liverpool will make, rotations. I think we made 7 changes that night. I don't expect us to make 7 changes tomorrow, but I do expect us to make changes, because we've Villarreal coming up, with Newcastle coming up, then the second leg against Villarreal coming up, and then I think we've Spurs then at home. We've so many games coming up, and every game is of huge significance now. It's a must-win every game for us. So, well, if we want to do the quadruple, of course, that we're set on course to do. But for me, this is a game where we can make 3 or 4 changes. I think we can rest some of the players that have played a lot of football for us lately. And, with the cup final and that coming up, it's a chance for other players to come in and, make some sort of statement that they've still a chance of being picked, you know what I mean? And not just expecting that if someone's out injured, they're going to come in, but actually be competitive. So, look, I don't think there'll be nowhere near wholesale changes tomorrow. I do think most of us will probably pick the start 11 tomorrow and get a spot on, but I do think there will be a couple of little changes. It looks like Firmino might be back for tomorrow. Everton obviously have a couple of injuries. They've Calvert-Lewin out. It looks like they've Gomez and Donny van de Beek, who'll be a huge loss to them. And then obviously they've long-term injuries to Tom Davis, Andros Townsend and Nathan Patterson. So they've a couple of injuries, Everton. And look, Everton are struggling this season. They've had 4 points in the last 2 games. At home to United, at home to Leicester, and they were, 4 big points, and they were, a huge win against United for them, a good performance as well. And then against Leicester was the performance probably not so good. Leicester probably unlucky not to see her out. I think it was Richarlison got the late goal, the 92nd or 3rd minute in stoppage time for Everton. They got a late goal against Newcastle a couple of weeks ago, the Thursday night game as well, where they won 1-0. So Goodison has got them out of jail a few times, and obviously that I'm not going to say it's a fortress to them, because they've had better results there than on the road this season. That's all for better performances. But away from home, they've been absolutely shambolic, and they've had an absolutely shambolic season. And you're expecting, with the mood Liverpool are in, with the form we're in, with everything now just concentrated and looking forward towards our goals and targets now, you don't see anybody coming near us, you know what I mean? And, as I said a few minutes ago, for me as a Liverpool fan, worst case scenario is the cagey game tomorrow. Everton give us a fright where, they might get a goal or might have a good play for some of the game, but they're not gonna lay a glove on us, I don't think. And I think tomorrow is just about getting another 3 points, getting through the game injury free, and everybody now concentrating and looking forward to a huge game at Anfield on Wednesday night against Villarreal. Obviously, it's the first leg of the semi-finals, and look, over them 2 legs, you expect Liverpool to do the business as well. I am aware there's not many tuned in now. We're going to have City and Watford on now today, so you expect City to extend the lead, and you expect Liverpool to win tomorrow, so the gap will probably be down to 1 point. But I don't think there's any favours today from Roy Hodgson, because Watford have struggled. They're not going to go to Man City and get at it today, Eddie. We know it's a funny old game and what have you and that, but City's task now with the games they have, you're nearly looking at them winning nearly every game. I think we'll win every Premier League game between now and the end of the season. Well, I hope we do. And you're hoping just City even get a draw or something gives way. But I just think this game be a bit too easy for them. I thought Brighton would have been, after them winning 2 games in a row, would have been more competitive for City, but they weren't midweek. So I don't expect Watford to do anything today against City. Other than probably have good spells in the game, and they might cause some fright to them, but overall I think City will get through comfortably. Big shout out Rudzi, one of the lads from Dublin. Big shout out, brother. You Daz. I hope all is well with you, bro, and you'll have a great weekend, and even a better one after Liverpool beat Everton tomorrow. Hoping we come away injury free tomorrow. Yeah, that's what I was just saying, bro. I do hope so too. That's going to be key, isn't it? With all the games coming up now, as I said, they're coming thick and fast, and we've so many now. We're at the latter stage of the season where we've so much at stake, and we know the derby games are normally competitive. Everton this season have had far too many red cards. We expect they're going to be, dirty and in on challenges tomorrow. But we can't allow any of that to upset our rhythm. We just have to show faith that if they are being like that, they're going to have players sent off, and we just have to play our own game. You probably would have expected United to be like that on Tuesday night because of the rivalry that's there, and especially when they were losing. I know at one stage Hannibal come on for them and was laying into a few tackles, and they were a bit dirty towards the end. But look, we came through the game unscathed. So hopefully it's similar tomorrow, and Everton are not going over the top on it. But something tells me they will be more competitive. They'll show more grit, and they'll definitely show more heart than United, because I don't think you can show any less heart than what United showed on Tuesday night. The last time, as I said, Everton beat us at Anfield. Funny enough, the last late game. They beat us last season, I think it was February or March. We were in a horrendous run of form at Anfield. We lost all 6 games. I think we only scored 1 goal. So it's funny because how much a year's changed, where last year they'd Ancelotti in, they'd James Rodriguez run the muck for them, and they looked like they were, rebuilding towards something better and challenging maybe for, a top 10 spot and trying to be competitive in the domestic cups. A year later, they've Lampard there, they're badly struggling, and that they're in big danger of going down, and here we are a year later, a point behind City, quadruple is on. I was looking there earlier on, we've like when you look at the league, how competitive, how streets ahead we've been of Everton. We've scored 83 goals in the league this season, conceded 22, which is phenomenal. Everton have only scored 34 and they've conceded 53, so they've conceded more than double us, and have scored not even half of what we've done. So we're streets ahead. There's no competition, but it is a derby. There's emotion attached to it. Everton are fighting for their lives to stay in the league. We're fighting for this league title. If we weren't fighting for a league title and we were on the beach and we were safe at whatever position we were in, and we'd no chance of winning that, and you might say Everton might do something, but with the confidence, belief, momentum we have now, I just see this another tick the box game. We get 3 points from and we move on, and then obviously on to bigger and better in Europe against Villarreal at Anfield on Wednesday night, which I can't wait for that game. The last time we played Everton this season, Zach Goodison, we won 4-1. Rafa was there as well, and it was great. I think we were 2-0 up and the Liverpool fans were singing Rafa's name. It was really, really great, because if you watch a YouTube clip from earlier in the season, Carragher and Tony Bellew, who's obviously the boxer, the big Everton fan, Carragher saying to him, he can't wait for this season when Liverpool go to Goodison, they're winning, and all the Liverpool fans are singing Rafa Benitez's name. And that happened, and we got a convincing enough win that night, 4-1. We were clinical, we were ruthless, and that was just before Christmas. Where Liverpool fans like to remind Everton about Mane scoring all around us, cop-white singing, having fun. So that song came out again, which we love to see it. But look, we were on fire then, and we're even just as much on fire now. I think the Marty Gray score for Everton, he was a $1.5 million signing. He was a really good signing for Everton, and I think he's up there with Andros Townsend, and I think Richarlison might be the top goal scorer. But Everton have, they don't have many. They've very, very little goals in them. And they concede far too many. I know they brought back Yerry Mina, the centre-back, the Colombian, who, will be pivotal for them now towards the end of the season. But if I'm being honest with you, I don't see Everton going down this season. Well, if they're hammered tomorrow and Burnley can win over this weekend, then look, you probably would then fancy them to go down. But I just think overall, Burnley, after sacking Sean Dyche, have left themselves in a very vulnerable position. The fact that they didn't capitalise when they beat Everton, and then Everton went out and beat United, I just think Everton will just have enough in them. I think it will go till probably near the last day of the season, but I think Everton just stay up, and I think the 3 worst teams in the league, in Burnley, Watford and Norwich, in my eyes at the moment, but Everton are right down there with them. And look, Leeds, I suppose, as well, and I don't see Villa. I think it'd be Leeds at worst case scenario will be sucked into a relegation scrap at the bottom. I'm just looking at the Premier League table here. You've Leeds, who are 4 points ahead of Everton. Everton have a game in hand. Everton a point ahead of Burnley, who they have a game in hand. So it's all to play for. It's really between who stays up between Burnley and Everton, I think. But there's still a good bit of football to be played, so let's wait and see what happens. Pat 43 throws in, yes, Daz, hope all is good with you, bro. Rudzy, I want them to stay up. I would like to see them going down, and the only reason is obviously they've been in the Premier League for so long. They've spent incredible amount of money. They've had incredible managers, and Ancelotti, Benitez, and nothing has worked for them. And clearly bringing in Frank isn't working for them. I think this is just a job too big for Frank. Lampard was used, even when he was at Chelsea, in competing and winning more games than he drew or lost when he was a manager there, and obviously a player in his career. So I think he'll struggle there at Everton, and I think it's a matter of time before he goes as well. Look, I'm not wishing they go down or wishing they stay up, but to me, I think it's probably time for them to go down. But then I could also say the same about Burnley and the fact that they sacked Sean Dyche. They're really, I think, that they're bringing themselves down with that decision. Why they didn't give them till the end of the season. I missed the games and rivalry, and Leeds will be City. Yeah, let's hope, because they're down there too, and that they'll need points just to secure their position. But they've done well since they've changed managers, and I don't know. I think City now are on such a good run of form that, look, that after Liverpool beating the FA Cup semi-finals, their focus now is, okay, Champions League. They always feel every year they have to win that. They went closer last season by getting to the final, and it didn't go their way. This season, they've obviously a good chance of winning it, but the biggest threat they're going to have is us in the way, I feel. And the Premier League, they've us in a way. So we've that card marked this season. We've drawn with them twice. One of them was a really good draw away to them. Then obviously spanked them last Saturday in the semi-finals of the FA Cup, which I think was flattening the City. When you look at it 3-2, you think it's competitive, but it was nowhere near it. We'd mauled them. Look, it's hard to know. We just have to win our games. We just have to keep going, and I believe if we do that, City will drop points. And look, it could be right, Rudzy. It could be against Leeds. But let's wait and see. And then they've also, isn't a Villa at the end of the season? I know there's a little theory about, Coutinho scored and Gerrard, getting a win over Villa and over City, and for Villa, and helping Liverpool win the title. So that could happen. You never know, but we'll keep going. If not Leeds, then a Coutinho injury-free kick on last game. Dreams, absolutely. That'd be a real weirdo moment, wouldn't it? If Coutinho got that and we beat Wolves and we went on to win the league, I mean, that'd be extraordinary. It'd be well worth waiting to the last game of the season and see us do it. But if we win the league this season, it's going to be some achievement. From 14 points behind, players going on that from Cup of Nations, being involved in all the competitions up until now, at least till the end of April, quadruple on to come back and win this title against probably the greatest ever Premier League team, and a team with the know-how. And with the millions, the riches and abundance of City, and with as I said, the experience, because 10 years ago they were winning league titles. It'd be incredible, wouldn't it? It'd be just unbelievable, and it'd be one of the greatest ever comebacks. It'd be up there with Leicester winning the league, I've no doubt about it. I don't know whether it'd surpass it, but it'd be right up there. And what an achievement it would be if we won the quadruple. It definitely surpass it. I seen something yesterday floating about for Liverpool, obviously, and it's good because the 7 front men that we have up front, we obviously forget a little bit about Minamino at times and Origi because they played very little football this season, but they've contributed in some way when they've played, particularly in the cups and the League Cup. So Salah, I was looking at on 30 goals, 12 assists, is phenomenal in all competitions. Jota with 21 goals and 5 assists. Mane with 19 goals and 3 assists. Now these are in all competitions. Firmino with 11 goals, 4 assists. Minamino has 9 goals and an assist, so he's contributed to 10 goals. Lord Divock has had 5 goals and 3 assists, and Luis Diaz, since he's come in, has had 4 goals and 2 assists. So when you gather all that up, now I haven't gathered it up, but it's an unbelievable stat for the lads, and we've riches in abundance up front. And we talk about how good our 5 front lads are, but we've 7 there, and you've Minamino and Origi. And Origi, by the way, could come into this game. He's a great record against Everton, the derbies, and now that he's back fit, he could come in tomorrow, because I do expect 2-3 changes maybe tomorrow, and why not bring Origi in? I mean, it is the game for him. He's the man with the big occasion. Whether he'll start, I don't know, but we will see him involved, with no doubt. And possibly Minamino as well. I've always thought Minamino is good enough, but he just needs to play consistent football. And with how good Liverpool are, with the arrival of Diaz, with the 4 lads keeping fit up front, it was always going to be hard for him to get in, wasn't it, Minamino? So you do nearly forget how good of an attack and the options that we have. And I'd also think Keita might play as well tomorrow. Kanate could come in. Wouldn't be surprised if Van Dijk is left out, just because the big game's coming up for us to try and keep him primed for him, ready and fit. Rudzi throws in Stevie G, be in tears of joy. Absolutely, of course, Stevie would be, and I think he'd be the first to admit, as a Villa manager, he would keep it professional, but he'd be loving that, for Liverpool to win the league title, absolutely, because he's still a Liverpool fan, and his dreams to come back to Liverpool one day. Could be in 24, who knows, but we know Gerrard, his affiliation with Liverpool, he's no secret. He said it when he was at Rangers, when he was doing bits there, and he's still saying the same now. When he's at Villa, hasn't mentioned it much. I know he's very professional when he came to Anfield and we beat them 1-0 in December, but Gerrard's absolutely unbelievable legend, and he'll want Liverpool to do as well as they can, and particularly win the league this season. I think we'd all want us to win the league this season the most. A couple of the lads' family are gone over today to the Liverpool and Everton game, so best of luck over there, lads, as well. Tomorrow it'll be, an unbelievable derby, but it's great, I suppose. What a time to be a Liverpool fan. I mean, I was only saying to a couple of lads today that this is the best ever Liverpool team of my lifetime. It's the worst United team of my lifetime, and it's possibly the worst Everton team of my lifetime. Imagine United missing out on European football this season, Everton getting relegated, and Liverpool win the quadruple. I mean, it's what dreams are made of, wasn't it? For all that to happen, it seems near impossible, but it's getting more realistic as the week goes on. Rudzi throws in there, if you ain't seen it, watch the overlap interview with Gerrard and Neville. Very good. I didn't. It come up on YouTube, a clip of it, and Gerrard was actually talking about giving Neville a clip, because he was talking about, I can't remember what it was, something about the class of 92 and who he'd love to give a slap to. And Gerrard, I think, it was referred to he'd like to give Neville one. But I will look at Rudzi. Thanks for that, bro. Well, that's it. We'll leave it here. I'm going to go with my score prediction tomorrow. I'm going to go with 2-0. I was thinking 2-0 and 3-0, but I think 2-0 because I think, look, you're playing a derby. Everton are absolutely fighting for their lives. All the pressure's on us. Every game's a must win. We got to be on our A+ game from the get go. As each week goes on, as each game goes on, it's very hard to sustain that intensity and energy, and to just keep being the machine that we are and keep going. But if anyone can do it, we can do it. And I think it's freshening things up, having everybody available back again. Obviously, it's 50-50 whether Firmino makes tomorrow. I do expect to be competitive, but I'm going to go for us tomorrow to win 2-0. But look, it could be any score. We could win 3, 4, 5, 6, who knows, wherever it be tomorrow. I'm going to go for 2-0 and keep another clean sheet. That'll have been then, I think, is it 85 goals then we'd have scored and conceded 22 in the league. Absolutely phenomenal. 15 of 100 Premier League goals. Mane is in absolutely fine form at the moment. I mean, it's been the evolution of Sadio Mane since he's went to that central role. He's been world class for us. Salah is back, broke his duck, is a short duck, getting 2 against United. And then obviously we've Jota there, with Diaz, who's been absolutely unbelievable since he's come in. As I said, he's had 4 goals, 2 assists. He's been incredible. I could have had more goals, more assists. And then obviously if Bobby comes in, another option. How good Bobby's been as well this season has went very under the radar, because obviously he hasn't scored nowhere near the amount of goals the lads have scored, but that's not his position in the team. Or his role. But I'm going to go for 2-0 tomorrow. Let me know in the comments what your score prediction is going to be and who you think will score. I'm going to go for Mane to score again. I'm going to go for Origi. If he starts, if he doesn't, he comes on. I'm going to go for Origi in his last derby game at Anfield, scores against the Blues, and it's a big 3 points for Liverpool on the way to the Premier League title, and it's a huge 3 points lost for Everton on their survival hopes, and they go down this season. That'd be a real perfect scenario. But look, tomorrow we just brush her aside, get Everton out of the way with, and then on to an absolutely huge game against Villarreal on Wednesday night. But thank you to everybody that did tune in, that dropped in the comments. If anybody doesn't watch it now, I'm sure people will tune in later on. But have a good weekend, all. Take care, and yeah, up the Reds. Come on, the pool. Remember to like, comment, share. And I'll be back on before kick-off tomorrow. I'm thinking of coming on when the teams are announced and talking through it. And then possibly coming on then after the game just for a review of how the game went. We'll just have to see how I'm fixed tomorrow, but I should be able to do them. But I won't make any promises until, when I'm on, that's it. Then I will be on to hopefully do some content then for the Villarreal game, to do a match preview for that big game coming up in the semi-finals. Have a good weekend, all. Enjoy the rest of the day, and thanks for tuning in. Take care.